In this video, we'll take a quick look at some common aspects that we need to understand about Excel. The first aspect you need to understand about Excel is how to open Excel. If you've installed any Office products, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll automatically install a shortcut on your desktop. And here's my desktop here, and I have this Excel shortcut key, shortcut icon here, and I can double click on that and open up Excel. The other way you can open it up is you'll see this a little shortcut in your bar down here, in your Windows bar. And the other way is if you're in Windows 10, you go here to the little start icon, you click on that, and you just start typing Excel. And then you'll see the Excel app come up. You can double click on that and open it. So I'm just going to double click on this shortcut. And I have Excel open. So now what I can do is go ahead and open up a blank worksheet. I double click on that blank worksheet. And the first thing I need to learn how to do in Excel is actually save my Excel document. Now, you may be wondering, why would I save a blank document? Well, because what happens a lot of times is you start working and you forget to save, and something happens and you lose all the work that you started with. So it's always important to start off saving your document. So what I'm going to do is go here to File, and then I'm going to go here to Save. As soon as I click on that Save, I can see here I'm saving it into my Documents folder, and then I can go ahead and change whatever name I want this document to be. Because as you can see right now, it's called Book 1, and that's not nearly descriptive enough. So I'm going to call this and so once I have that, I can go ahead and hit save. And if I don't want it in the Documents folder, I can just click on this and it'll navigate me up a level, or I can click on this and I can go ahead and choose a different folder. But for right now, we'll leave it in the Documents folder. I'm going to hit save. Now, if you notice, it doesn't say Book 1, it says Tutorial Sheets, and so I'm ready to go. So now every time I want to save something, I can go to File and Save without worrying, because I know exactly where that file is, and it will always save to that file. I don't have to keep on showing it where the file is in order to save it. Another good thing about this is I could just click on this button here to save. So if I click on Save now, it's saving every update that I have. Another way to save, and here's the main thing you want to probably start using, is the shortcut keys. So there's a shortcut key you can use to save, and that's Control S. So I'm just going to hit Control S and I save my document. So I've used two things so far. I use this quick access bar, and this bar will have automatically, it will have auto save, it'll have your save button, it'll have your undo, your redo button, and then it'll have this little thing here where you can add more quick access buttons in there. So as you can see here, if I click on this auto save, it will start saving periodically as I start working on my document. Even though we saved it initially, when we start adding something, it's not saved until we decide to save it. If you click on the autosave, it automatically saves it to that file. I also mentioned the quick access button here with the save, the undo, the redo, that sort of stuff. I can actually add more elements to this quick access by clicking on this right here. I can add, maybe I want it to have where I create a new document, I want to maybe access the emails, maybe spelling, sorting and ascending, all these other things. I can actually go ahead and add more. So here, let's say if I add new, now I can just click on this, add a new document or create a new document. So that's how we can customize this quick access bar. This will be on every Office product that you use inside of Windows. The other thing you want to be aware of is this ribbon here. That's what they call it. They call it a ribbon because it goes all the way across, and all the Office products, including PowerPoint, will have this ribbon. So that's PowerPoint, Access, Excel, obviously, and Word. And this ribbon will give you information about the title of the ribbon. So right now, this ribbon, we're in the home ribbon. And the home ribbon has these groups. Okay, so within each one of these groups, you have different categories of things. So here in the styles group, I can style my tables. In the cells group, I can insert cells, delete cells, format cells, and so on and so forth. Now, in the homes ribbon, it's actually a culmination of different ribbons, some of the most used items that you would normally use. So if I were to go to formulas or data, I may see some of these things inside of those ribbons, because the home ribbon is just going to give you those things that you may use that's related to the other ribbons right away, and easier access to them. So if I click on this menu here, I'm in the insert ribbon, and if I go here to drawing, to draw, as you can see, the menu changes here, and you can see the ribbon changes here, and so on and so forth. We're not going through all the details of it, but you can see how the ribbon changes. One of the most important things you can understand when you're starting Excel or any other application like this that's extremely intense and has so many things to it is that your job is not really to know everything about it. It's just to know what you need to do with it. So in other words, don't try to learn everything about Excel. Just know your project and understand what you need for your project to be complete when using Excel, or for that matter, any other application. So let's take a quick look at some common shortcut keys. We already talked about Control S. That'll allow us to save. But let's look at, let's say if I was add some stuff here, A, B. I'm just going to add some simple text here. Okay, so some quick shortcut keys would be copy. So if I were to select this cell, I hit Control C to copy. And I can go over here and Control V to paste. So you hold the Control key down on your keyboard and hit V to paste. Hold the Control key on your keyboard down and hit C to copy. I can copy a lot of things at one time by dragging it, selecting it, and dragging it, and hitting Control C. And coming over here, I'm just going to select the one cell and hit Control V to paste. And you notice it pastes it within that same format that I selected it. Once I paste it, Excel is going to ask me, do I want to format this? So I can actually utilize, because it realizes this is a series of data. You notice when I only paste one item, it didn't ask me that. But when I pasted a series of items, that's when it asks me about that formatting. So if I select any series of items, I can get this formatting quick menu. We'll talk about that later. So let's look at two more shortcut keys. We're not really trying to overwhelm ourselves with a bunch of shortcut keys, but you do want to be aware that you want to learn as many shortcut keys as possible. So the other shortcut key you're going to want to know is undo. Let's say I did this and I didn't want this done. Let's say I even formatted this, and I'm going to format this table like that. And I didn't really want that way. So I'm going to undo that. The easiest way to do that is a shortcut key, but you could go up here to the menu and click on this undo button. But as I put my mouse over it, you'll notice it says that little message right there. It says undo conditional formatting, meaning every time you click the undo, it's going to undo the last thing you did. So if I were to click on this, it'll undo that formatting, and if I were to keep on clicking on that, it'll continuously undo. The easiest way to do that is Control Z on your keyboard, and I could just keep clicking Control Z as opposed to coming up here every time I want to undo. But it's up to you. It's more efficient to use the shortcut keys. Let's say I really didn't want to undo that and I wanted to put it all back. I can over here click on the redo, but as you can see, there's a shortcut key there. Control Y to redo. And I'm just clicking on that and putting it right back to the way it was. Now, it's not really a shortcut key to hit delete, but the delete key, I guess you can consider a shortcut key. A lot of times, shortcut keys is a series of buttons that you, or keys that you would press, like Control Z, Control S, that sort of stuff. But if you just hit the delete key on the keyboard, whatever was selected will be deleted, as you can see here. Let's move on to what I was doing earlier, entering this text inside of the cells. Okay, so one in, I selected the cell and I can start typing. Okay, that's one way to do it. But cells have two properties, let's say. It is the view or selection property that it has, or let's say states. It has a selection state and it has an edit state. If I select it, I can start typing in there, but this is not an edit state, meaning if I were to select this cell here and I just start typing, it's going to just type over it. It's not editing anything. It's just going to delete what was there and type over it. If I double click on this, now I'm in an edit mode. I can go ahead and edit inside of there the details of that cell. So that's the difference between selection and edit mode. I can actually select on a cell in the selection mode and go here. This is the formulas bar. This is where we can see what formula is inside of the cell. So everything is a formula in Excel, and I'm going to undo this. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Let's go back to Control Y to get it back here. Everything in Excel is a formula. So when I put my name in here, it sees it as a formula, but it's not a formula that does anything except for reiterate what was here inside of the cell. To give you a quick example, let's say I put an equals here, and this is how all formulas start inside of Excel. Inside the formulas bar, starts with an equal. Put equal, and I put 1 plus 1, and hit enter, and as you can see, that formula is there. And this is why you need to understand the difference between selecting in here. If I were to double click in here, you'd see I'm in edit mode and it will edit that formula. Now in selection mode, when I just click away from that, you can see here that it just shows the 2. But in the formulas bar, it shows the 1 plus 1. So you may have something that looks the same inside of Excel, but they're not actually the same. One is calculating the other. And in later videos, we'll talk more and more about formulas. So Excel is broken down between rows and columns, and you can see your columns here going all the way across here from starting at A. And then you can see your rows right here starting from 1 all the way down. And if I were to select on this 1, I'm selecting this entire row, and 2, selecting this entire row. And if you notice when I select the cell, it's telling me what row and column I'm in. Right now, I'm in B4. Over here, I'm in I9. Over here, I'm in A10. And when I have something selected, I can go ahead and edit it. And again, we'll talk more about this. By having that selected, I am operating directly on that cell itself. And finally, let's look at how we can name our spreadsheet. So this is a particular sheet, but in Excel you can have many sheets. That's why it's called a workbook. I click on this plus and start a whole new sheet. I'm going to click on that plus there. Start a whole new sheet. There you can see here it says sheet 2. Over here, sheet 1. I can double click that and change the sheet name. And I can go over here and change this sheet's name by double clicking. I can also right click on this and rename it. I can insert information here. I can delete it. I can view code, protect the sheet, tab coloring. If I were to change the coloring here, you can see that coloring has a slight gray to it. I changed the coloring here just so you can see the difference. And I can have sheets that go all the way across. And all I got to do is click on these tabs to switch between the sheets. Once I'm done with that, I can just save it as I did before, or hit Control S. And that's how we actually move around Excel. Just a quick overview of some Excel operations that you may need to know. And as you move forward, you'll be hearing more about these things and even more information regarding Excel's, navigating through Excel and utilizing its operations tools.